Hello, I live about 17 miles south of Detroit along I-75 in South Rockwood, Michigan. Frac sand mining came next to my house in 2015 summer. They excavated this 80-acre field out over the winter, and this is 1 year of extraction. This is in 2016 after one summer of extraction. So basically, breathing freshly fractured silica is just like breathing asbestos. And there's dust that comes off of the crushing plant. It's pure glass is what it is when they crush it, little particles go in the air and you breathe it and it gets in your lungs. So in 2016, I decided I would get out in front of our local post office and get signatures for the community to get air monitoring for this quarry next to my house. So I stood out in front of our local post office with a sign petition for silica air monitoring. And this is our local post office. It's a little small post office. South Rockwood, Michigan. And so I was out here getting signatures, and I was out here for a couple days, and the postmaster from the next community over, who runs this post office, comes here and tells me that I have to can't petition in front of the post office. And I said, no, this is legal. This is public space. The sidewalk you can petition on. It's free speech. And my wife happens to run the small post office. She's the one person that runs the post office. So I go home, print up the law, and I give it to her, and it states that here's a silica truck hauling silica through town right here. It's hauling those are super trains that haul silica through town all day long. The Quarry President, the quarry is, the main part of the quarry is out in that direction. It's about, I don't know if you can see some conveyors and some equipment over that way, but that's where the quarry is. Anyway, they haul the silica to Rockwood, Michigan, where the plant is. So the Quarry President goes to the Rockwood post office, and the Rockwood post office is about a half a mile down the road. As soon as you cross that railroad crossing, that bridge right there, there's a bridge, you're in Wayne County. That's the county that Detroit is in, Wayne County. I'm in Monroe County, just south of it. We're sandwiched between the Ohio border and Monroe County along I-75. So the Quarry President goes to the Rockwood post office and complains to the postmaster that I'm in front of the post office here getting signatures and he wants me removed. So I take care of that situation within a few days. She keeps telling me that this isn't sidewalk, and it is sidewalk. She argued this with me. This is my wife's boss. She's telling me that this isn't sidewalk. So I get back out here and I start petitioning for signatures again, and then all of a sudden the police officer from town, who's been harassing me lately and surveillancing me, sits right here where you see that sign on the front of that car, sits right there for about 20 minutes with a shit-eating grin on his face. And I stood right here with my sign, you know, and all of a sudden I turn around, he does a U-turn and pulls off, and I turn around and walk the other direction, and then the postal police pull across the sidewalk behind me and threaten to arrest me, and they're going to take me to Detroit, cuff me up and take me to Detroit. I said, well, go ahead and do that, and I'm going to live stream this to the ACLU. So this officer he's definitely in radio contact. So what the postal police said was, we've had complaints all week long, and they've ramped all the way up to, you're not allowing people to enter the post office. Oh, by the way, we know that your wife runs the post office. I said, well, I'm not going anywhere. So I threatened to video it and live stream it to the ACLU. And by the time I went to my car, got my phone and came back and said I'm ready, they said that they weren't going to arrest me. So I said, you know, you got no video. The police officer was just here. Why didn't he arrest me? This is the officer that's been harassing me and surveillancing me. And I had a conflict with them about last week, and I videoed it. And after he's sitting here at my wife's post office when I dropped her off at work, I went around the building and parked over here in this parking lot, went around the corner and took photos of him sitting there. And this has been going on like all summer long. So then as soon as I get to the corner and start taking photos, he pulls away. So I go and get in my car and I drive home, and I got another police officer on a road that has no village residents. I'm in a village. No village residents on my road at all. This police officer, another police officer, sitting in front of my house. As soon as I pull in the driveway, I'm going to take some photos of him too. He pulls off. So he's sitting there to see if I'm going to come home or whatever I'm going to do. But he claims that he doesn't know me. This police officer has no idea who I am. So this is what I'm dealing with here in South Rockwood. I'm doing this video so the people in the community can see what's going on here. And then the other day, he pulls across the sidewalk right here and tells me, and forces me off the sidewalk with his car and tells me that we're at war. And then he tells me that he's going to call the police, the postal police again, and say that I'm harassing people, customers coming into the post office. Basically, that he's going to commit a crime by putting a false police report out there. The postal police are police. And now that's what they told me when they came out here the other time. That this is, you know, they had more important things to do in Detroit than to run all the way out here. So, yeah, then I called the village post office. I mean, the village office, and said, hey, your police officer just said that pulls up and threatens me that me and him's at war. So I said, Andy's sitting out here harassing me. He's sitting right in front of that sign right there, pointing right towards me, which he never does. And after this incident, and they said, well, that's what you want, is the police to be out there, yeah, pulling over those trucks, like that big semi that was going through here with the heaviest weight limit laws in the state, flying through here usually, and he never pulls them over. He sits in the parking lot out here and never pulls anyone over. I'd like to get his arrest or his pullover. You know, he never gives any tickets out at all. So, you know, that's what they're trying to say. And I said, well, you know, is that normal that he's pulling up and telling me that he's at war with me? And I noticed that they had put the phone on speakerphone, and so I told him I'm going to call the Attorney General of the state of Michigan and make a complaint. Well, that's what I'm dealing with here in South Rockwood, Michigan. This is normal stuff, I guess. Thank you very much. South Rockwood Frac Sand and YouTube and Facebook, if you check it out.